Hey, what's up everyone? Sangluten here, and we are back for another video. A bit of a different one now, because this is a season recap. We'll have a look at my last season ranked games, win rate, some other kind of statistics, also a bit later in the video, which will be bookmarked by the way, so you can easily skip if you want to go directly to that. I'll also have my all-time statistics where I go a bit more in depth. It is a different format. I used to do these season recaps in short videos, short format with the AI generated video and voiceover, although the text was mine, but I figured I will try it a bit in a longer format here, targeting 10-15 minutes I guess, and yeah, to try and go over the different figures and metrics that I can find based on the logs I keep, not based on what the game gives me. So this was actually my fifth season as a YouTuber, and the 7th season overall. So I ended up in the top 8, so short of my goal, which was top 5 for that season that ended end of May basically. And I reached a total of 1,877 elo, which is also a bit short of what I wanted. I wanted actually to reach 1,900 ideally, but yeah, I left for holidays as well slightly before the end of season, so I couldn't really achieve my goal, but I'm still quite happy with that. Ended up a good season, and I will jump straight into it now. So let's have a quick look at the first statistics there. So as we can see here, I played a total of 84 games in May, and it was actually my best season in terms of win rate. As you can see, I had a 52% win rate, so I ended up first in 44 of those 84 games, and then second 21%, third and fourth a bit less. So combined, if we focus on first and second, where we have elo gains, that was 73% of my games, which I'm pretty happy about, to be honest. By start position, I like to have a look at that as well, because I usually like starting a game as second for some reason. Kind of gives me the flexibility of like having potentially the double fold space or the double smuggling play, depending on what the first player does. So this usually gives a bit of an edge, I feel like, early game. But it feels like that might be a bit overestimated by me, because as we can see, when I start the game as first player, that's where I have a 55% win rate, which is pretty good. Second is a bit lower. When I start the game as second player, I only win 48% of those games. Third is actually my worst starting position, where I end up only winning 41% of the games, and that's fourth player. I ended up winning 67% of my games, but as we can see afterwards with the leaders, this is essentially done because essentially due to the fact that I was quite lucky in my leader selection. When I was fourth, I managed to get Baron or Tessia quite a lot actually during that season. So let's have a quick look at this. My three most played leaders during May were Tessia, 18 games, Baron 16 games, and Handro 15 games. And with all three of them, I achieved at least 50% win rate, and with Baron a whooping 75% win rate, which is quite insane, to be honest. But that shows that I was also quite lucky with my intrigue plays, and overall my Baron games were pretty lucky during that month. So that would be it for the season recap. Now we have a quick look at the all-time recap. As a disclaimer, this only relates to my 5 seasons as YouTuber, because that's when I started actually logging my games separately in an Excel with a bit more detail than what the Dune app gives us. And actually at the start, when I started logging them, there was no Dune stats or like player stats that we could find in the game. So I started before that, but now obviously the Dune game gives an all-time view, whereas mine only gives me views for my 5 seasons as a YouTuber. As a disclaimer, my win rate is improved a bit with those 5 seasons as a YouTuber, because obviously my first 2 seasons I was also learning a bit more how to play more competitive, and that's where probably I was also doing a bit more tryouts and experiments. So in the Dune app, I have a win rate close to 39%, but a bit below. I think my total number of games is around 700, if I'm not mistaken, or 600. I would need to double check that, but basically if we focus on the 5 seasons where I was a YouTuber, my total number of games was 455 games, and in those 455, I won 42% of those games, and 29% were second places. So if we sum that up, that is 71%. Yes, 71% of positive elo gain. If we actually compare that to my season, I had 73%. It is very, very close. Although obviously the 73% here are made a bit more of first places, so it means I definitely improved compared to overall, but still not significantly. At least in terms of first and second. And then third and fourth places are still pretty low, so I'm happy with that. And let's have a quick look by start position again to see if what we saw with this season was a fluke or a noise in the data, or if it's actually verifiable. And it seems to be pretty consistent with what we saw during the season. Fourth and first seem to be the strongest positions to start with, at least for me. And third seems to be the worst consistently. Whereas second is a bit in the middle, but yeah, it seems I should readjust my feelings when it comes to second position start, because it does not seem to be the best for me. But yeah, anyways. The third slide here on the all-time recap is about my leaders, most played leaders. Here I actually put all 14 of them so that we can have a look of who I play most, who I win most with. And as you can see, my best win rate is actually with Memnon, 100% win rate, but at the bottom of the list, obviously, because I sorted them by most played leaders. But obviously that's 100% is only due to one game. So if we remove the 4 or 5 least played leaders where there is really like not many games played, I think my best leaders are probably, well, Baron, 51% win rate on 85 games is, I think, pretty good. Andro, 54% win rate as well. I'm pretty happy with that. And yeah, Tessia, Armand, 43 and 40% respectively of win rate is also pretty good, I think. Where I probably could improve is with Lito and Ilban, those more control type of leaders, where I feel like I could do better, because 33% is not ideal. I mean, if we base our thinking on the fact that 25% should be the base win rate, because that's like 1 out of 4 is you play with 4 players. So if we do it at pure random with throwing a coin, basically, you would probably win 25% of your games. So anything above that is not bad, but obviously the higher you go above those 25%, the better it is for your performances. So I feel like 30% or 33% is still a bit close to those 25%. But yeah, when it comes to 30 games, it can go very quickly. Obviously, you do one game represents basically like 3%. So here, let's say Lito or Ilban, I play 3-4 games in a row where I win, and that win rate will look very different at once. But it is still interesting to have a look, I think. Here, I thought this would be funny to have a look as well, is by game setup, I called it, is whether I win more when live streaming, when recording the game, or when playing fully offline, like on my iPad or just without like my streamer mindset. One caveat here is that obviously I started doing live streaming much more later in my YouTuber career, let's put it. I started by recording a lot and by playing offline a lot before moving to live streaming. But still, I think this is only one explanation of why I win better, why I win more live, but I think the other and obvious one that you would probably have guessed is chat seems to help as well in the end. So shout out to you guys for joining chat and on stream, and that might not help the allegations that streaming online while doing ranked is a bit unfair. To be honest, on that debate, I'm not going to go too long on that, but I would disagree with that because I think it still has, it is still a double-edged sword. I would fully agree with those allegations if there was no counter, no timer on your turn, and you could take as much time as you wanted on your turn, then yes, I agree. But the fact it is limited, I've found myself so many times conflicted between the ideas of chat, trying to understand chat, what they mean, trying to like also see what I want to do, and then the time ropes, and I have like 10 seconds to do my moves, and I do misplays. Like, so I think it is to be taken with a pinch of salt. I don't think chat 100% helps, but as we can see here with the win rate, it seems to still give a push. Although, as said before, I've started live streaming also later in my career, and obviously I hope, at least I like to think that I got better over time, but I think those next slides that we will see proves that indeed I probably got better over time. And this is also a word of encouragement for everyone who watches me and feels like they're not winning enough. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of experience and of games, of mistakes, of watching others play, of thinking what your opponents do during the game as well. And that's where you improve and actually get better at the game. Let's have a quick look also by season. So here I numbered them season 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 because those are the ones I recorded. My season 1 and 2, I don't have any logs of them. So still to keep it accurate, I put them there as number 3 to 7. So yeah, you can see how many games I played, which started quite slow with 43 games my first season as a YouTuber, and then increased quite a bit over time. And we can see here, I like ended first pretty regularly between 35 and 45%. Although season 5 is a bit of an outlier because I dropped quite massively, whereas the rest I was pretty consistent between 45 and rather 50 actually, or even 52 this season. But that season 5 I had a nightmare streak, to be honest, where I think I ended up 15 games without a win. And that was so depressing. I was really like putting my life into question at that moment. But where I think it's quite interesting is rather if we have a look at the 4th position, because there it consistently decreased. And I think this is also a good point to keep in mind is not only you try and win more, but you usually also be able to lose less. And this obviously also helps with ELO. Now, there are two types of players, those that say first is the only that matters, and the other ones that are more ELO focused that say, well, I'd rather secure my second place rather than bet on a first and yet still end up 4th. I'm a bit in the middle, to be honest. It depends a bit on my mood. Sometimes I target first and risk it all. Sometimes I rather secure it for a second place. And I think there's no right or wrong. Everyone has their own style of play. Otherwise, what is also interesting here is actually when you combine first and second places, we can see that here my first season as a YouTuber ended up with 61% top 2, then 67%, 69%, 76% and 73%. So here as well there is a constant increase, or at least a trend, let's put it, because it's not consistent increase. I actually decreased my top 2 rate in that last season, despite having a much better win rate. But it seems to still trend towards a 70 to 75% top 2, which I'm very happy with, to be honest. Then this is quite interesting as well, is to see how my average rank evolved over time. I starting from the 10th game I played up to the 460th or 458th game, I think it was. Let's have a quick look. Again, all time, how many games? 455 games I played. So this shows from the number 10 game to the number 455. And average rank, again, if you throw a coin and would just play randomly, with everyone playing random, you would expect to have an average rank of 2.5, because if you end once first, once second, once third, and once fourth, and you do that all the time, if you sum that and divide it by the number of games, you would end up on 2.5. So the goal obviously is to be significantly below 2.5, and what we see here is over time. Obviously at the start here, the data is pretty volatile because there are less games, so the average moves a lot with the new game, but with more games it stabilizes. And what we can see here is, well, here that was probably my nightmarish season, like those 15 games without a win, and probably some other stuff happening here because it looked pretty bad. But from there on, again, we can see the trend is really to go to the decrease, and now fluctuating slightly around 2. I think this is probably where it will stagnate. Maybe I can target to go down to 1.9, but it will take a lot of time now with 455 games under the belt already. The more games I play now, the less they have an impact on the average rank, but it is still something I would hope to still see trending down. And one more reason to let me know in the comments if you enjoy those kind of videos as well, so that I do them again season over season to give some more updates on that, to see how this evolves over time. And now my last slide is actually the evolution of the win rate, which is obviously a bit inversely correlated to this, but I thought was still interesting to have a look at as well. Again, I started it at the game number 10 up to the 455, and we can see that it gently trended towards that 42% win rate, which I hope obviously to be able to increase further. And this is definitely the last few games is definitely the last season's positive impact with a 52% win rate, I think it was. And I would hope that I can maintain this to make this win rate trend to something around 45%, hopefully. So yeah, this would be the end of this little recap. Let me know how you enjoyed, or if you enjoyed this. If you have any feedback, if you want to share your own win rate with me down there, so that we can compare a bit and see how we all fare comparing to others. If you enjoyed that, would really be awesome if you could like and subscribe this video. Really helps a lot my channel, and trying to grow that community that is interested in Dune game would really be awesome, to get more and more people involved and get more competitive, and who knows, at some point maybe get an esports scene or something for Dune Imperium would be really amazing. Anyways, thanks a lot everyone for joining in. Hope to see you very soon again for my more conventional Dune games that I stream every Sundays, as you can see there, and other days as well, sometimes on a more case-by-case basis. And I also upload recordings every Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays, so I can see you there, hopefully in the comment section as well. Hope to see you soon. Have a good one. Bye bye.